The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah!
Go Cowboys!
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Pollard streaks in. Touchdown. Parsons has sacked it. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Nick Harris, John Machota, and Kyle Yeomans.
It's a Thursday edition of Talking Cowboys presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company. We are here from the Star in Frisco in the SWBC studios, previewing Week 8 of the NFL season as the Cowboys get set to face the L.A. Rams at AT&T Stadium on Sunday. Like the big voice man said, Isaiah Stanback, John Machota, Nick Harris. We have Chris Beam in the back. Gentlemen, how we doing today?
Swell.
You look locked in over here.
I'm always locked in, Kyle.
Ready to get your QB vision taken care of?
Are you ready for QB vision?
Not yet. No, that's the second
I
segment.
need this right here, though. Let me get that.
It's pretty nice, right?
Get that. It's my size. Fit that.
I don't think so.
When I walked in, the first thing I said to him, like, I hope you do your homework on this Rams defense, because I just see a lot of similarities between this Rams defense, name-wise, and let's say, I don't know, the Arizona Diamondbacks. If you're not following along, there's a bunch of names you're probably not going to know.
Yeah, the Arizona Diamondbacks. That's still they're in the World Series, right? They're still formidable.
I would love for someone to reach out, tell us. I would love to know of a team with less name recognition on it than that Arizona Diamondbacks that's made it to a championship series.
I will say they have.
I'm just going to stick with, because the ones I follow the most are baseball, football, and basketball. But I would, man, that lineup. I mean, of course, there's like Evan Longoria, but the rest of that crew is.
It's like an old Evan Longoria, though. What is he?
Sure,
like 38 now.
But I'm just talking about like name recognition, where just baseball fans will be like, oh yeah, no, I know this guy. It's pretty
very little.
That's what I was going to point out. I was watching, I think it was Game 5 or Game 6 of that series, and Evan Longoria's in the 8-hole.
Yeah.
And I was like,
wait,
is that Evan Longoria? When did he get here?
Yeah, I think I was very early in the series. It was the NLDS, and I was like, I didn't even know he was still playing.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, playing well, and that's exactly what the Diamondbacks
I can't even think of an NFL team that's made the Super Bowl with that little name I mean, maybe the Panthers. That year that they lost to Brady with like Jake Delhomme.
Yeah.
Maybe
But even then they had some guys on that defense then, right? I don't know.
So long ago.
That was so long ago.
What about the Seahawks team with what was like Hasselbeck that was starting? Or am I losing my mind? And this was like 06.
Seahawks ever go to the Super
I don't
Bowl
think
in
so.
the mid-2000s?
really.
Sean Alexander was on the team.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
We want the ball. We're going to score.
Yeah, that one.
Hey, I should know that Super Bowl was in Detroit. They lost to the Steelers. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, man, I forgot.
Yeah,
about
that's a good one too, man. Yeah, that was pretty rough.
Yeah. Recently, there's been name recognition because either one side had Tom Brady for the most part or the other side had somebody that was really like an MVP or something.
Or made a bunch of moves that are I mean, heck, this Rams team, when they go into the Super Bowl, all the moves that they made to get them to that point, you know. Sorry.
Moves they made. Interesting.
I thought I said something wrong. Wait,
no,
You mean that they're aggressive?
You said something right.
yes.
Oh.
Yes, that would be it.
Interesting.
Isaiah perked up real quick.
It's just wild how that just tends to be the commonality around these parts. People would be aggressive, they go get guys, and they automatically just end up in the bowl game.
It's almost like we talked about this.
I'm talking about the Alamo Bowl.
I like that he used commonality, because I said that word yesterday, and immediately after I said it, I'm like, I'm gonna make sure
It works.
Let me make sure this is an actual word.
That's funny.
Like AP
And it
style.
is. It is very much.
Oh,
so.
good.
You had to check your AP style book.
Yeah.
Nick and let's do some news and notes.
Yeah.
We'll say. Well, I was gonna say Nick and or news and notes. It was just like a bunch of ends. Yeah, it didn't work out.
Yeah, it's all right.
Didn't work out in my favor.
We'll get it tomorrow.
Go, you're out of there.
We'll get it tomorrow. No worries.
We'll try it again on Friday. News and notes.
We could start with probably the shortest injury report in the history of the Dallas Cowboys. That's not a fact, but I was talking with somebody in
High five, very nice.
I was talking with somebody in PR yesterday, and they couldn't recall a practice report as slim as this one since at least 2015. So it's been a while. There was only one player on the injury report yesterday, and it was Wanye Thomas, who obviously missed the Chargers game with a hamstring injury, and he was a full participant. And the only reason he was on there is because he missed the Chargers game. If not, he wouldn't have even been on there. So basically a negated practice report yesterday. Everybody's healthy on the 53-man.
I've never seen anything like that. I've been covering the team since 2011. We get these emailed to us, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I have never seen one with only one name on it. And I'm talking even at the beginning of a season, much less, now they're coming out of the bye. That obviously helps. But when I got that email, I was kind of like, is this wrong? Like, the only way to beat that would be is if they sent one out and there was no names on there. And I've definitely never seen anything like that. But then even the fact that, it seems like Wanye is on track. It's not, he was listed as full participant. So that's a good sign there too. Now, obviously, when we say that, that's not counting, Trayvon Diggs is out for the season. Yep. Leighton Vander Esch is on IR. Like, that's not counting them, because I feel like sometimes if you tweet out, everybody's available in that some people wonder, oh, does that mean Leighton too? No, it doesn't. He's on IR. So when you're on IR, you're not in that week-to-week, update on what your status is in practice, obviously.
What it does include, though, are the guys that have been dealing with nagging injuries. Zach Martin,
offensive line's the first one I thought of. Yep.
Offensive line just really across the board. It's awesome to see nobody out there. Now, Thursday's really been the trouble practice. Thursday's been the one where something has popped up. So, we got to knock on our wooden plank here just to make sure that. When is that coming, by the way?
Follow up on that.
I figured that's why you picked up your phone there.
I was kind of interested to see, Mike McCarthy prefers, obviously, to practice on grass. And we haven't gone inside at all this year yet for practice. Yeah. And I thought that today might be the day with the rain. Oh, man. And then walking in here, all the stuff's set up outside. Yep. So I'm thinking they're going to keep going outside. And obviously he does that because of the lesser chance of injury in that. Yep. So, yeah.
We had just come back in after the media portion of practice yesterday, which for the audience is typically about 20, 25 minutes that we get right at the beginning of practice. And as soon as we came out, it started pouring down rain. I was like, oh, they're about to go inside. They stayed out there the whole time. So,
and the field looks good. It does. Being this far into the season, there's been times where, you walk around by that atrium up there and you look down and you're like, man, this thing ain't going to make it to the end of the year. They put a new one down at I think it towards the end of last season.
Yeah, it was right at the end of the year.
Yeah. And I don't know if, I'm not a grass expert, which Mike McCarthy is. He's super into this stuff. But
Beamer, what's our, I don't know what his title is. The guy who handles all the landscaping out there. What's his name?
The Grasspert.
Chris.
He's doing a great job.
Man, he's been around since I was around. That dude's amazing.
And what was it when
they've brought in a guy as well?
I was about to say
they brought in a consultant as well, because we were having grass problems.
It was a consultant that deals with the World Cup pitches.
Yes.
Yeah, it was one of those things that back in the day, or not back in the day.
Wasn't FIFA just there yesterday? I was reading an article about
FIFA's been around.
You know what I'm saying? They were at the stadium.
They were at the stadium
checking it out
this week. I think it was Monday.
They've been around.
Yeah.
So for people that have never been to the Star, just so you know, for one, the Texas sun is going to beat down on some grass. That's your line one. The other is that these two fields are in the middle of these three buildings that are all covered in glass. So that's just reflecting that sun even more off. So when I talk about this, it's not just like keeping your front lawn green. Like, it's tough to keep.
That's hard.
And then the wear and tear for how much that Mike McCarthy. He won't say this publicly, but I bet he would prefer both of the fields out there being grass.
Yes.
That's the way it was in Green Bay. He's used to practicing on grass and stuff like that. And then obviously they have the turf inside at the Ford Center. But everything looks like it's going pretty good out there, and I imagine they're going to stay out there, even because that's the thing too, is that people think, oh, well, why would they be out there today? Like, they're going to be playing inside on Sunday, but they're trying to they want to be on the grass as much as possible. That's always that's a big thing with teams like Bill Belichick. I think before they played somebody that was indoors, it was raining outside, and he's like, no, we're going outside, and they practice in the rain, and obviously not the greatest of field conditions, and a lot of people were, why would you do that? You're about to play, but it's more than just about that opponent, So
yeah,
it's injury prevention too.
Yeah,
even had somebody upstairs. I don't remember who said it, but somebody asked that yesterday. It wasn't one of the media side of things. It was one of the business side, and they even asked, they're like, why they're playing at AT&T, like the roof's going to be closed, like why are they outside? And sure enough, they kept rolling all the way through it. And like you said, DFW got a lot of rain over the last 24 hours, a significant downpour, especially through the night last night. And the Star was hit by that, but they're still out there. They're still rolling. They've got all the equipment and should be ready to go. Only time I've seen them go in this year was in the middle of a practice 2 weeks ago. Maybe going, I can't remember. It was before the Chargers game. So, yeah, that was the only time they've ever gone in. And they started outside and then moved inside whenever the lightning.
Yeah. The other thing that
radius
factors
hit.
into is that because of those 3 buildings being around, it gets real windy out there.
Yes.
And so, yeah, for Brandon Aubrey, I'm sure he doesn't love kicking in that. But, yeah,
Hey,
it's been real windy out
It's
there.
good
the last
practice,
couple
right?
weeks. Yeah.
Perfect practice makes perfect.
There was one day last week when the wind was just cooking in that wind tunnel on the practice field, and he would aim it almost right of the goalpost, and it would just come around all the way left, and it was hilarious. Speaking on that note, this wasn't my next note, but since we're on the point of Brandon Aubrey, I'll go ahead and bring it up. He did mention yesterday that his personal best inside the Star is 68 yards, and that outside on those fields in the notorious wind tunnel, it's 55 yards. So I feel like throwing that out there just because we saw, I think it was in the Jets game where he had an opportunity for a 66-yarder, and then the Falls started moving him back, and they ended up punting. But I don't know. Would y'all be comfortable if he was to roll out for 68 on Sunday?
We're part of the game.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
If it's going into halftime or something like that, why not? End of a game.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say comfortable. I think, excuse me, when he was talking to, I think he mentioned about how his hope is that they can just get the ball on the other side of the 50.
Yeah.
If it's in, late game situation like that. I would say if he can kick 68 in practice, I think that he probably can make a 70-yarder if he had to. I'm not saying he's going to, but I'm saying if you had to march him out there for it, it's got a chance just because I think he'd be even a little bit more amped up with a crowd around you than hitting 68 with nobody around inside the Ford Center. So, it would be interesting, but I mean, heck, they trotted him out there for a 66-yarder, and we're going to kick it up until a point where there was, I think it was a false start right before halftime. So, would I be comfortable thinking like,
Nailed it.
Let's go get something to drink. This one's in. No,
Automatic.
but I think he's got a chance,
Yeah.
Mike McCarthy talked about that a little bit after that opportunity arose, where it was a 66-yarder, and everybody's like, why would you even attempt this? And he trotted out the field goal unit. It was in a game that at that point, it was out of hand, right? I'm trying to remember.
That's why he did it, yeah.
Yeah, because it was out of hand, and he said, just the confidence level that gives to a kicker, one, to say, hey, we're willing to try this. If you say you're good, let's do it. Let's trot it out there. But two, it's almost a mental rep or a rep in general if you actually physically go through and kick it to see just how close you are from 66 yards. Yep. So that way, whenever a playoff scenario comes down and something like that happens, it's an end-of-game scenario, you've at least seen it before, because then you can be more calculated in your decision-making, whether to do it or whether not to do it down the line whenever things matter more. So I like it. If the opportunity arises at some point throughout the season, and it's not going to hurt the outcome of the game, I think that's the number one thing. And I don't think they would do it if they thought it would hurt the outcome of the game. But if it doesn't have a direct impact on it, why not? Let's try it.
You'd probably feel more comfortable with the Cowboys kicker than the Rams kicker right now.
Probably.
Yeah,
probably.
Because they just brought in somebody new.
Yeah.
Well, and they had been Brett Maher. And they just recently...
Yeah, they just cut their guy.
Poor Brett. He had a rough... He actually had a good start to the season.
Have you seen this guy's name?
Yeah, it's really difficult. It's really
Lucas Havrasik? I don't know.
We're going to need the pronunciation guide on Sunday.
I don't really know about that
I'll find it.
I don't know anything about this guy. All I know is that they moved on from Brett Maher, who obviously was the Cowboys kicker last year.
Yeah, I think Brett missed an extra point and 2 field goals on Sunday, and they just said, yank. And he had actually had a pretty decent start to the season. Like, he was a lot of volume. He had a lot of reps, and he was doing all right with it. Next news and note: running backs coach Jeff Blasco. We'll make this one quick, but he is back with the team. He was out, I think it was since training camp, towards the end of training camp is when he left with a health issue. But Mike McCarthy said yesterday in his press conference that he's back with the team. So obviously good news. Happy for Jeff Blasco to be back in the building and back doing what he loves. But I had a question proposed to me on Twitter whenever I tweeted that out. So it was like, okay, now that the running back coach is here, does that mean there's going to be a lot different utilization for running backs? And no, that is not the case. The running backs coach responsibilities, they were shared by a handful of offensive coaches while Blasco was out, and him coming back in has nothing to do with the utilization through 6 games. So it's more so Mike McCarthy making the schematic choices, and the running back coach, it's his job to make sure that they're fulfilled. So don't expect any big changes there, and I don't know if y'all have any thoughts on that, but
You have any thoughts? Position coach wise, I mean, how much of an impact do they make in scheme choices?
I don't know with this team.
Mm-hmm. What about what you dealt with?
When I was here, we had Skip Pete, and Skip Pete was one heck of a coach. They elected to not bring Skip Pete back. I know he had a tremendous impact on the group when I was a part of it, and I would imagine that he had a tremendous impact on Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard in years past. I mean, he had input. I mean, what he said, his word was bond, and I know the coaches listen. At least when I was around, coaches listened to what he had to say, his insight, his knowledge of the game, his responsibilities, the standard that he held guys to when they came off the field. If they had a bad carry, bad decision, bad read, he got off in their butt. It wasn't a pat on the back, oh, you're okay. Like, he held you accountable, and you didn't want to make a mistake because you were representing him at all times. So I can't speak to what they have now, but that's my experience.
Yeah, he's over with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers now. He got plucked pretty quickly, and he's been with the Bucs since the Cowboys let him go. But
not that anybody should care about this other than us, but
yeah,
he was always great with the media too. So I've always been a big fan, on and off the record. He's great to talk to. Great dude.
Yeah, he was always a lot of fun. Anything else?
Last thing I got, Trayvon Diggs had his surgery on Tuesday to repair his torn ACL. We were able to ask Micah Parsons yesterday, just, hey, did you talk to him or anything? And he was like, hey, this is what he said. He said he FaceTimed me and was like, I just got my surgery. I said, are you good? Do you need anything? I know his mom and everything is here. He was like, nah, I'm good. I'm still going to go over there and play the game with him. I play the game with him too much. You see, he's on with Dez now and everything. He's picked up some new hobbies. He still sucks at the game, so I'd be trying to give him a couple tips and things like that. So it looks like Trayvon Diggs is finding his new passion while he's on bed rest.
I always found that interesting how when you get a major knee injury like that, how up until like maybe, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, I used to always think that, oh yeah, no, they'll operate next week. But with certain injuries like that, I think it's because they want the swelling to go down. Is that why it is?
I don't know why they waited so long for him.
That's a long time.
Yeah. It was similar with Overshown though. They really want the swelling to be completely gone. They don't want to even jump it even a little too early, because if you go in with swelling, then there's possibility of scar tissue on the other side, and you got to go back in, and then it's a longer recovery. That's what they did with Terrence Steele too. So I don't think it affects the timetable.
You think it's just a knee thing, or would they do that for other seasons?
They do that for Achilles and things like that as well. It's just the swelling. Yeah, swelling complicates things in terms of surgery and your recovery, but that was a long time for Trayvon. That was surprising to me.
And correct me if I'm wrong, the knee is one of the more areas of the body that swell the most.
Yes.
They can be there for a while. So maybe there's just a little bit more time in that and waiting for it to go down. But I don't think it affects his timetable by any means. I trust the staff here that they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
especially after Terrence Steele, how quick he was able to come
got back. No doubt. What game was he talking about? Talking about Madden?
He had talked about Madden and 2K earlier in the press conference that he had been playing quite a bit during the bye week. That's what Micah had said, that he him personally, but he didn't mention what game he'd been playing with Trayvon. So I assume it's one of those two.
Probably one of the two. Yeah. I would imagine that was probably the case.
Yeah.
All right, let's take our first break. When we come back, we've got QB Vision. Isaiah Stanback's going to break down this Rams defense and how the Cowboys offense can take advantage of some of the holes in that defense. When we come back right after this with more Talkin Cowboys.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Black Rifle Coffee Company serves premium coffee to people who love America. When you drink Black Rifle coffee, you are directly supporting veterans, law enforcement, and first responders in your community. Black Rifle's expert roasters love coffee almost as much as Texas loves football, so it makes sense that America's Coffee partnered with America's team. Go online at blackriflecoffee.com and fuel up with the official coffee of the Dallas Cowboys. That's blackriflecoffee.com to fuel up today.
Cowboys fans, after that move, we've just coined the term Rowdy Replay. Let's roll back the tape.
Okay, there's our mascot Rowdy cheering on the boys, and now he's on his phone, on his Bank of America mobile banking app?
Staying on top of his finances with his virtual financial assistant, Erica.
Bank of America's digital tools are so impressive. Cowboys fans just can't stop banking. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/can't-stop-banking.
Erica is only available in the English language. You must download the latest version of the mobile banking app, only available on select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. Member FDIC.
Welcome back into Dear Doctor, the show where I answer life's questions with an ice-cold can of Dr. Pepper. Sheila, let's hear from our next caller, would you?
Dear Doctor, my friend supported me during a tough time, but what's the right gift that says, thanks for being a shoulder to cry on?
Okay, this one's easy. I say give her a delicious Dr. Pepper. Nothing says, thanks, girl, better than a one-of-a-kind soda. Yes, any Dr. Pepper flavor will do. Now, just a reminder that I don't need to be a real doctor to know that Dr. Pepper is the one you deserve.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Back here on Talking Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company. This segment is brought to you by Invisalign, the official smile of the Dallas Cowboys. Back here with Nick Harris, John Machota, Isaiah Stanback. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Chris Beam in the back has got the sounder ready because it is time for some...
Wide 80. Wide 80.
It's time for QB Vision with Isaiah Stanback.
John doesn't like the sound.
No, I'm fine with who said it, though. Who said that?
He did.
That was you saying that?
I didn't say that. I did not say. I said, well, I did the cadence.
Yeah, he did the cadence. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what.
That was not my voice talking.
No. But even the cadence didn't really sound like you.
Huh?
The cadence didn't even really sound that much like you.
You know, I have a lot of gifts and talents.
I just think it's funny because honestly, it makes me think of
Big
like
cadence guy.
It just makes me think of like all this season, like, and really, it was like it with Romo too. But all the other quarterbacks had to say the cadence the way that Romo said it, so that if he goes down, and it's the same way with Dak now. Like when he's saying the "Here we go," like Cooper Rush has to say it the same exact way. Trey Lance has to say it the same way. So when you said that, I didn't necessarily. It didn't sound like you right away. So okay, cool. Sounded good though.
Maybe we get Dak over here. We get Dak to record a cadence.
Here we go.
Here we.
Real quick, what was probably the most difficult one you had to copy in your career?
I didn't have to copy anybody.
You didn't have to copy anybody? Okay.
Flex. Okay.
You guys were just looking over at the play cards on the sideline they were holding up.
I mean, the only time I was playing quarterback in the league was in New England. So, I mean, Tom Brady, I didn't have to – Tom didn't have like this extensive – call snap count. He literally, most of the stuff was him calling out the mic and like that stuff. The protection aspect was the more important thing. Like the actual cadence didn't give too much of an indication as to what we were doing. It was more just fluff. You can kind of do your own thing.
Well, he went to Michigan, so he was just looking on the opposing sideline and looking at their signs, and then was like, "Hey, they're doing this."
Wow.
Pretty good.
Timely.
Pretty good.
That's a timely joke. I like
over
it.
into the Patriots Spygate. I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
Yeah, you know.
So it all started from Michigan. This is what we're piecing this together.
Wow. So can Michigan get knocked out the top 4 because of this?
They can get in some significant trouble, but no.
I don't think it's going to come to a conclusion.
I need one spot to go. Okay, I need one spot to come out the top 4, so that
you've got a
slide
personal
in.
rooting interest
Absolutely,
in this
man.
investigation.
We're number
now.
5 right now. We're sitting strong. We need to slide in.
It'll be all right.
Like Trey Songz.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Tell me about this Rams defense.
Rams defense. Okay, so the Rams defense, obviously, when you think about the Rams defense, what's the first thing you think about?
Aaron Donald.
AD, right? And there are some people around these parts that don't believe that Aaron Donald is still Aaron Donald. I'm not going to say any names.
I didn't say that.
I didn't say you. I'm not talking about you.
But I know you're coming at me, so I'm just going to go ahead and address it. I didn't say that. I'm just saying I don't think he would be worth trading so much for at this point in his career. But go ahead.
All right. Well,
maybe I'm wrong.
Aaron Donald is still Aaron Donald from my perspective, from my QB vision eyes, okay? From my eye in the sky. You see that? He is a complete dude. These guys run a 3-4 defense, okay? And because they run a 3-4 defense, it gives Aaron Donald the opportunity a lot of times to work on offensive guards. And when he's able to work on offensive guards, it's pretty bad for opposing offensive guards. He's quick, he's fast, he's explosive. He's all the things that you've come to know about Aaron Donald, and he's the leader of this defense. That hasn't changed. He has a couple guys that are playing next to him, Kobe Turner and Jonah Williams. Kobe Turner, 91, shows up more on film to me than Jonah Williams does. But they complement what Aaron Donald does in terms of giving him the one-on-one matchups that he's looking for. They have the stand-up defensive ends in a typical 3-4 defense. Only person that really pops off the film to me is Byron Young, number 0. He flies around. He is aggressive. He's that nonstop. Who's some guys? I mean, you could throw anybody in there. I think when I think about nonstop, relentless guys, I think about guys like Clay Matthews. I think about what's your name out of Detroit now, the youngin? Aiden Hutchinson. Guys like that. They're just like, not saying that he's that quality of player, but I'm saying like he's just that tenacious, right? He's relentless.
Byron Young, by the way, was a 30 visit for the Cowboys this year. They really liked him, especially in the draft. They got to the point where they were really looking into him, and they thought he would be there. And mid rounds, they were thinking maybe late third, early fourth, and he got picked up in the top third.
Was Kobe Turner another 30 visit, or he's just somebody that we talked about a lot during the draft process?
I want to say he was more so a talk about part. Yeah. I can go back and look, but yeah,
either way,
I don't think he was a visit.
Either way, both of those guys are showing up on film. Yeah. In terms of what they do, okay, this is a prototypical cover 4 defense, much like we face against the Chargers. When we talked about the Chargers a couple weeks back, we talked about how they're going to play a lot of cover 4, how a lot of the ways in which you can beat them is underneath. We saw a lot of that, right? We saw a lot of that in terms of CeeDee Lamb getting some slants, getting the ball early and often. A lot of the things were open to him underneath coverage-wise. That's going to be more along the same for this Rams defense. The difference is that this Rams defense does a great job of disguising whether or not they're going to play 2 high or 1 high. A lot of the times they'll line up with cover 4 look, meaning the corners are off and outside. The safeties have depth, and it looks like cover 4 every single play. And then sometimes they'll roll down to 3. And how they roll down to 3 is typically the traditional way of rolling to cover 3 is when the safety rolls back to the middle of the field. That other safety rolls down right into the box, and he looks for crossers and things of that nature. Well, these guys don't play the typical cover 3. They'll keep their safety lined up in their original position, and they'll just drop the other safety down. And a lot of times when they drop that safety down, they're looking for crossing routes. So when they played against the Philadelphia Eagles, they played a lot more cover 3, and it's a lot more single high because they were looking for those over routes. They were looking for those things that are coming across the middle. They really wanted to take that away. You would think the more weapons you have, the more you would play 2 high safety, but they didn't take that approach. So it's seemingly the more threatened they are by your receivers, the more they want to play single high so that they can have more guys in the middle of the field to take away those things, that the middle of the field that's typically open. So that's what I am seeing on film from them in terms of personnel in the secondary that stand out to me. Jordan Fuller he's a safety. He's not bad, but Rush Yeast, number 2, He pops on film to me. He really does pop on film to me. He wants to take your head off. I think he's relatively good in coverage. He's aggressive. He's decisive. When he makes a decision that he wants to come hit you, he's going to try to knock you out. He's trying to put you out the game. So number 2 and number 4, those guys are solid to me at the safety position. The cornerbacks, Akilo Witherspoon doesn't really impress me on film. Darian Kendrick, number 1, so 1 and 44, their corners. They don't really impress me. Kobe Durant, their nickel for 14, he's okay. Again, not threatened by necessarily anything that they're doing in that regard, which is why I think they play a lot of 4. I think they give them the grace to keep everything in front of them, and they're trying to, much like the Chargers did, okay, which is kind of scary when you look at it, but you've had a week to look at it. They want to keep everything in front of them. So if you are trying to get beyond them, then that takes more time, and it gives their pass rush opportunity to get to you. And their pass rush is Aaron Donald. That is their pass rush. And for those that are looking at Aaron Donald's stats and saying, oh, he doesn't have a bunch of sacks, listen here. This dude is about 0.02 seconds away from sack after sack after sack. These guys are barely getting the ball off. I don't care what team that they've played to date. He is right there. So he's literally not even half a second away from being all over the headlines that how you're typically used to seeing Aaron Donald's name. He is right there. Johnny on the spot, throwing guys off. I mean, the explosiveness that he has to lift these grown men guards most of the time off their feet and just shed. You can't hold on to him. He does such a great job of shedding blocks. Guys get onto him and he literally punches them or he lifts them and tosses them, and then he's off and he's going to make a big play. He's running things down from behind, and his other guys that they have around him are just playing to that. Right? He's the disruptor. Everybody else is a complementary player, and that's what they try to do to you on defense. Their rush defense, I'm not afraid of it, especially when they're playing too high. I think that's where you can really take advantage of these guys. Being that they're playing a soft cover 4 defense, you can obviously take advantage of things underneath with your option routes, your slants, all those things that we saw in the Chargers game. You'll have that at your disposal. But the running game, you have to get that back going again, and I think this is a good bunch to do it against. How do you do that against Aaron Donald? Well, you better combo block him, right? Tyler Biadasz, you better put on your chin strap, your jock strap, your studs, everything else, because you're gonna have to get low and be engaged on this guy. And hopefully, they're not leaving you on an island to do this by yourself. Hopefully, Zach Martin can help you out. Hopefully, Tyler Smith can help you out. But you're going to need 2, and it's hard to use 2 guys to combo block versus a 3-4. Because those guys are covering up your center and both of your guards. So it's really one-on-ones, and your tackles are left on an island with those stand-up defensive ends. So it makes it difficult to double team, but you have to win your one-on-one matchups. The question is, who's that one-on-one matchup going to be against? Because if I'm Aaron Donald, even though I don't play nose tackle, I might play nose tackle this game because that's your honestly your weakest offensive lineman in terms of who he would line up on between Tyler Smith, Tyler Biadasz, and Zach Martin. So he'll move around. Sometimes he'll be on the end. Sometimes he'll stand up. But a lot of times he's right there in the middle, right there over those guards. But I could foresee him lining up over Tyler Biadasz and trying to be disruptive in that regard.
All I think of is just being Tony Pollard and having it like you're back in protection and you're just trying to help out on anybody that gets through. And here comes Aaron Donald, and you just got to try and do your best to try and stand from him.
Shoot his knees. You shoot his knees, man.
Or deuce fall.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go for it.
Question: If they're able to minimize Aaron Donald, they have a really good game plan on taking him out of the game. Who do you then have to account for probably the most?
I would say Kobe Turner is probably the next man right there on in terms of the defensive line.
Just in general, I was talking defense in general, but if you want to go ahead and say the defensive line, that's fine.
That's the only other guy in that front 7 that I would be concerned about right now, and that's number 91, Kobe Turner. Again, once you get to the secondary, their linebackers don't do nothing for me right now, but their secondary. Again, you got to go to Russ Yeast.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Russ Yeast. I mean, Witherspoon. He's a guy to me. Yeah. He's a guy to me. I think he's serviceable, but he's not a lockdown corner. He's not somebody that you have to worry about taking any of your guys out the game. He's a NFL corner. And he'll have his plays, but I think that majority of the time you'll win your battles against him. And again, I think that's why they play to this coverage. I don't think they want to play in cover 4. I think they want to play more press, but I don't think they have the personnel to do so. But their safety will come bust you in the mouth. Russ Yeast, if you're not looking and you're running an over route, he will come downhill and he'll light you up. So that's the guy that, in terms of big play, mojo moment type of guy for them, that's the other man aside from Aaron Donald that I would be concerned about.
It's really interesting. I went back and I just was curious. The last time the Rams were in the playoffs, of course, was their Super Bowl year. And I just wanted to see what their defense then compared to what their defense is now. They have one returning starter on that defense. His name is Aaron Donald. It's the only guy. Yep. That's it. Everybody else is gone. Michael Brockers, Sebastian Joseph Day, Leonard Floyd, Micah Kaiser, Kenny Young, Troy Hill, Taylor Rapp, John Johnson III, Jalen Ramsey, boom. Darius Williams. I mean, they had some guys.
Yeah, they had some dudes.
And even their backups are starting elsewhere. Morgan Fox, who had a sack on Dak in that Chargers game, was a backup. Greg Gaines, a backup still in the league. A'Shawn Robinson still. Yeah, UW. Justin Hollins, Troy Reeder. I mean, they have all these guys that were legitimate. Yep. And over the last 3 years, that's how quickly things can change in the NFL. I'm sure if we went back and looked at what the Cowboys defense looked like in 2020, it's completely different. But sometimes it goes in your favor, like the Cowboys have, and sometimes it doesn't go in your favor.
Yeah, these guys are middle of the road. I mean, when you look at them statistically, right, they're sitting right in the middle. They're like 17th in the league in terms of yards allowed, things of that nature. But when you look, it's really interesting as much of an average defense as they are right now statistically, when you look at their completion percentage against them, they're sitting at about 58%. So it's kind of interesting how it really plays to how much pressure there is happening up front, even just with those front 5 guys, right? The 3 down linemen and the 2 stand-up ends.
Yeah.
They're causing enough, they're pressuring, right? They're causing enough disruption to not allow quarterbacks to really set their feet. Because with this type of defense, like the Chargers, right, you would think that you could light them up on the scoreboard. You would think you'd be able to, get big play after big play. But Aaron Donald, again, he is pressuring the crap out of guys, and he's not allowing these quarterbacks to really set their feet and get the ball to where the openings are in this defense in the secondary. So I thought that was a very interesting stat line that these guys are top 5, I believe it is right now. Top 4, 58% of the passes completed against them. Dallas, put it in perspective, Dallas is 5th with 60% of passes against them. So statistically,
there's one statistic that they're bad at, and that's taking the ball away.
Yeah.
They only got 5 takeaways in 7 games. That's not very good. But the only reason I brought up Witherspoon, or I mentioned him when I thought that this year you were going to say, he does have 3 of them. He has 2 interceptions, and he has a fumble recovery. But it is not a defense that you're really scared of making a bunch of plays, especially on the back end.
Nope, not at all.
It's a super young group. Aside from Aaron Donald, only 1 starter on the defensive side was drafted before 2020. So a lot of youth on that defense. There are a couple of guys that I really liked in the college days. Darian Kendrick, one of their starting corners, he was actually at Clemson initially. And then whenever they opened up the transfer portal to make it immediate eligibility, he was one of the very first big names that popped in the portal. And he ended up at Georgia, finished there, won a national championship. So a really good talent there on the boundary during college. But I'm with you, Isaiah. I think there's a really good opportunity to go after him specifically. I don't feel like he's quite caught up with the speed yet. And there was another guy who went to Texas A&M a few years back. He was on the defensive interior for them, but he's on the IR now, Bobby Brown. And I was watching a game in week 4, and man, they were running right at him every time that he rotated in. And I put it in the notes on my phone for this very exact day. I was like, whenever QB vision gets brought up, I'm gonna be like, it's gonna be their prerogative to go after Bobby Brown in the run game, but he's on the IR. So yeah,
maybe they'll have a chance to go after Trey Tomlinson. Waco Midway is on. I went to
there you go.
At Waco Midway. Had to shout them out. Go Panthers.
But I would like to stress that the best way to handle this defense is to get up on offense. Right?
Okay.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
With that being said, I want to come back after our second break, and I want to talk about that. Who needs to have the biggest day offensively? Who has a chance to get up on offense quicker and have a chance to really put this team in a good situation to be successful come Sunday? When we come back with more Talkin Cowboys right after this.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag & Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag & Turf, the official Ag & Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
Are you ready to take coffee off your grocery list forever? Black Rifle Coffee Club is here to help. As a coffee club member, you'll get your favorite coffees roasted, packaged, and shipped to your door free of charge on your preferred schedule. Set it, forget it, and never run low on coffee again. Members also get exclusive deals on coffee, products, and discounts from partner brands. Ease your mind and let Black Rifle worry about your coffee supply. Go to blackriflecoffee.com to join the coffee club today.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Back here on Talking Cowboys, this segment of the show is brought to you by Quaker Oats, a super trusted superfood. Quaker Oats, the official oatmeal sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
I got mine in.
Did you?
I feel super.
Super Quaker? I don't know. Super trusted superfood? Super?
I
You
had
feel
some,
super?
I had some Quaker Oats in my smoothie this morning.
Hey.
Yeah.
You've been on a smoothie tip lately. What's going on? Are you locked in?
He's got the plug upstairs.
I do have a plug upstairs.
He's got the plug.
We should have a Talking Cowboys workout.
I'm with that.
You said what?
1,000%
Talking Cowboys workout.
You said, huh?
That'd be hilarious.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
No, that would honestly be great. It would honestly be great.
There'd be a lot of weight changes.
Beam, you're coming too.
You'd have the 3 plates on for Isaiah.
No, I don't lift heavy.
And then
the bar's enough.
Then you
That's
take,
fine.
you
Just
take
leave the bar there. I'll do
2
that.
of those plates off.
Put a band. I'll put a band on there.
There you go.
Put a band on
We
there.
do half a bar.
Half a bar. Yeah, put the band. Yeah,
I stopped
dude,
doing
the
heavy
bands
weights a
will
long
get you
time
though.
ago.
The bands are sneaky.
Facts.
What about
That's all I do. I don't do much weight anymore. I just do bands.
Is that because you were around Tom?
No.
And I'm not joking when I say this, but like to me, he's like one of the faces of it. It's Tom, and then it got to
You know what?
got to like LeBron, where it
Yeah.
was like lean down, not big weights and stuff like that, because it was about, hey, I'm a GOAT. The longevity of my career is probably not best to be trying to throw up the heaviest weights.
Yeah. You know what? Now that I'm thinking, I don't remember seeing TB12 work out.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
Well,
on
I'm saying like I think he was working out with his own guy.
players.
You know, like he was working out with his own guy. I'm not
Yeah.
saying he wasn't working
Yeah.
out. I'm saying like the team facilitated like, hey, go to the weight room during this window
Right.
of time. Like I didn't see him in there.
We'll put it to you this way. If you've ever covered baseball, there's definitely some times when you're in the locker room, particularly with, well, we're just going to call out middle relievers, where you're just like, this person just walking around, there's no way you're guessing, oh, pro athlete, let's just say by body types, you know? If there was a position in the NFL, maybe not so where the game is going right now at the quarterback position, but let's say maybe around that time, early in Brady's career and back, quarterback would be the position where I'm like, I don't know that these guys are necessarily in the back. I mean, obviously we've seen pictures.
Roethlisberger looked like a trucker.
I mean, so I'm thinking Len Dawson smoking cigs, at halftime.
Yeah,
they're just
Kentucky quarterback. What was his name?
Oh, Jared Lorenzen. I'm just saying, like, there wasn't as much. That would be the player that would most be like a pitcher to me, where you're like, you don't have to be. You're not running all around. You got to run the offense.
What about the kicker? Who was the kicker out of Oakland?
Sebastian Janikowski.
Sebastian Janikowski. Yes.
Yeah. To play to your point, I was downtown and this was this past off season. So this was like, I don't know, maybe March-ish. Okay. And it was before spring training and it was after the Super Bowl. So it was right around that like March time, early March, whenever. And we were just kind of hanging out with some family and friends and stuff, and we were in one of the hotel lobbies. I can't remember which one it was. And all of a sudden, my wife looks up and she goes, "Hey, who is that? Who is that person?" And I turn around and it was Matthew Stafford. So very timely with what it is. It was Matthew Stafford, of course, went to Highland Park, still has a place here in Dallas. And he just kind of walked in. No one in the bar knew.
Yeah.
Not even a single soul even recognized. And if they did, they kept it under wraps, kind of like what we were doing, just kind of chilling and hanging out. Sure enough, he goes and sits next to somebody who had been at the bar for a solid 25 minutes, Clayton Kershaw, his childhood friend who also went to Highland Park, pitcher, quarterback, and the whole bar just was oblivious to the whole thing.
Damn. What hotels are you staying at, Kyle?
Yeah,
I wasn't staying at the hotel. We went there for
Can't
drinks.
hide money.
Right. Chill.
Kyle just pushed his way right between the two of them, took a selfie.
He kept going. Hey, guys.
Matthew Stafford was like, is that Kyle Yeomans?
That's not what happened.
He's a guy, though, that I feel is like leaned down the longer he's played in the NFL.
True.
Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
Like you can just see it. Like there's that really popular video of Tom Brady, like his face, the way it's changed like throughout his career, how he's like really skinny in the face like that. I think Stafford would be pretty similar.
The opposite has happened with coaches.
Yeah.
Maybe. Isaiah, who needs to have their biggest game on the Dallas offense to ensure success on Sunday? Who's got to step up their game against this matchup?
I think CD will have his biggest game, but I feel like Tony
of this
Pollard.
Season.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, but I feel like Tony Pollard needs to they have to find a way to get Tony Pollard going.
Okay.
Right now, I feel like he's just, I'm like present,
he's roll call.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's a incapability of him. I'm just saying that because of how he's been utilized, he hasn't had the splash plays, and for what this is his resume. let's be real now. This is his tryout. You can still look at it however you want to look at it, but I don't care that he's a franchise tag. I mean, this dude, he is vying for a job next year.
Yeah.
And this is his money year. So this right now, it's not looking great for him statistically, nor does this brand of football match his brand right now and what he's trying to do going forward in the remaining part of his career. So I think they have to find a way not only to get those splash plays for him, for himself, but I think for this team, they need another threat. There's no threat right now. Like, you don't fear. And I think Micah was even talking about it on his podcast. I believe it was yesterday or this week. Like, there's certain teams you fear certain players. Like you're and when I say fear, I mean like you better be concerned about this person because otherwise they're gonna tax you.
Just focused on.
Yeah, you better be focused on them. Otherwise they're gonna make you pay. Like Philly has their guys. Everybody that we played has their guys. Dallas, CeeDee Lamb, stop him. What do you got to worry about?
Crickets.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where they're at right now. And I think they need to change that narrative so that you have to be concerned about out there, right here at the tight end and the running back. Where, like, you have to be concerned about multiple points. Right now, it's just like, find a way to double CD and we're good.
So if CD's 1, would Tony be 2 on your list? Would he be the next priority?
Yeah, you have to get
Who
him
would
on.
be the third priority?
Cooks.
Got to be, right?
You think that's more important than any of the tight end stepping up?
No. Tyler Biadasz.
Okay.
Tyler Biadasz. If Tyler Biadasz is not
is that realistic, though?
Oh.
Not even just skill guys, but guys that are able to be feared. The guys that are
okay, so what's the question? What's the original question?
Out of the guys outside of CD and Tony Pollard, those are 1 and 2 of who are capable of being the feared parts of this offense. Who else is on that priority list?
All right, then feared, I'll say Zach Martin.
Okay, Zach. I can see that.
Yeah, it has to be Zach. If that front three, okay, Tyler Biadasz, Tyler Smith, and Zach Martin don't have a solid, physical, demanding game, you're going to be surprised at how difficult it is to win this ball game. You're going to be surprised.
Do you feel like the strengths of Zach Martin and Tyler Smith hide some of the incapabilities of Tyler Biadasz at times?
Yes.
I think so too.
Yes.
Whenever I'm watching it in film, I can't help but think Biadasz gets helped out a lot by the fact that, one, he's playing next to a Hall of Famer. That's part of it. I mean, Zach Martin helps anybody. He would help me blocking out there if I could, just because he's Zach Martin. Tyler Smith, it's the strength. He's just got Superman strength to the left. And a lot of times if Biadasz is left on an island, he's getting blown off the ball.
He's the ice cream and ice cream sandwich.
Okay. Does that mean he can melt away?
Did you just make this up, or is this something that is a term behind the scenes?
No, I just threw that out there.
Oh, yeah. Like that. Okay.
What was it?
I didn't know if this is something like, term that.
No, he is. I mean, he's the ice cream and ice cream sandwich. And if you don't, if you don't have that pressure in there, it's going to fall apart.
But isn't that the best part?
It can be.
It can be. It can also not be.
Yeah.
Ooh. When is ice cream never not the best part?
Whenever it's melted down, and
whenever it's the wrong
soggy
flavor, if it's melted and soggy.
I think the wrong flavor of ice cream is still better than almost anything else.
See, and I think that's good because I'm not saying Tyler Biadasz is a bad player. I'm just saying he has some incapabilities.
He's the weak spot in this offensive line.
And
that's the
weak
fact.
spot on the
that's not an indictment.
I don't think you're saying anything that's.
Yeah, I don't agree. He made a Pro
fourth.
Bowl last year. He's a good player.
Out of 5?
Yeah, I think he's fourth. I would put Terrence Steele at 5.
You feel?
I don't think you're alone in that regard.
Isaiah's
I disagree. I think Terrence
it's
Steele
close.
is 4.
I think the reason I give Biadasz the edge is because of everything he can do pre-snap for that offense, and I think that's invaluable. And if we're not factoring that in, then okay, I'll put Terrence Steele 4.
Okay, so Aaron Donald. Okay, Aaron Donald's going to line up over T. Steele sometimes.
Yep.
Aaron Donald's going to line up over Tyler Biadasz.
Yeah.
Which one do you feel more confident with one-on-one?
There you go.
Neither.
I understand what I'm saying, but
it's
but
like
if you had to choose and say I have a greater chance of survival with this guy versus Aaron Donald,
I would put Terrence Steele.
There you go.
But it's because Aaron Donald is an interior guy. I mean,
he's a whatever guy.
He is a whatever guy.
But that also puts him further away, so that's why I would probably go with it. I agree with you. I would agree with you because he was on the outside. It's farther away from the ball.
If we were talking Micah Parsons, and it would be Tyler Biadasz.
I want everybody to pay attention to how they go after Dallas's offense. I know we got to get out of here, but like they are going to literally line up with Aaron Donald over Tyler Biadasz, and they're going to have the other tackles over Tyler Smith and over.
They're going to get after Tyron Smith too.
Tyron
can't move as well as he used to.
But Tyron's
so they're going to make him move.
Tyron's weakness is bull rush, and that's why I say Khalil Mack was going to have a day, and he did have a day, right? Like bull rush gets Tyron Smith right now. That's his thing, right? He's not hunkering down. I'm less concerned about people running the edge on him because he has those go-go gadget arms still, right? He's not as quick as he used to be, but he can still get his hand on you and run you by. If you get up underneath him and you actually have the technique and the power and the strength to be able to get underneath him like a Khalil Mack, that gives him problems right now because he just can't. You get your hand in his chest, he just can't. He's not sitting down on that knee anymore.
He doesn't have that anchor.
But I really think that those three interior linemen are going to be ISO'd. They're going to be ISO'd, and they're going to force, right, Terrence Steele and Tyron to go and be able to win their one-on-one matchups and try to get up to the next level. It's going to be very difficult to work up to the linebacker level against this team because they are literally going to say, I want Aaron Donald one-on-one with one of these three guys. And if I have to choose, I'm choosing 63.
Yeah.
It is a conversation. And the concerning side of it is the fact that it always will be a conversation. From this point forward for the rest of the regular season, they're going to see some great defensive fronts. Yes. They're going to see some great front sevens. And we're going to have this conversation, I'm sure, down the line, and we'll see more film on what they're able to do against 99, what they're able to do against Aaron Donald in this front. But truth of the matter is, this is not the best front they're going to see, but they're still going to be challenged. This might be the best individual they see.
This is the best individual defensive lineman they will face. However, he's also the quickest. What they have to deal with going forth next week is size and straight, just mammoth humans that are strong. This guy is going to beat you with quickness and explosiveness. So pad level, right? Not putting your head down, right? Being like having like your feet underneath you, all that stuff matters. Otherwise, you're going to be olayed. He'll olay you.
Olay.
So
I don't know. I guess it's wrong to look at it this way, but I just look at it as if you can somewhat control him, there aren't a lot of guys on that defense that scare you.
Agree, and that's why they're going to go man to man on the interior O-line.
Yeah,
they're going to go man to man. They're going to go three guys right in the middle.
We got to get out of here.
Yep, got to go.
Could talk about it all day. Great job on QB Vision. Got a great look at what the Cowboys offense and the Rams defense will do on Sunday. We'll be back tomorrow with Say It With Your Chest Friday. We'll update our Pick'em standings. We'll give you the chance to be a part of the Pick'em segment. You can also be a part of Cowboys Storyline coming up next, 888-855-2297 with Nick Eatman. We'll talk about that down the line as well. That does it for us today. For Chris Beam, Isaiah Stanback, John Machota, Nick Harris, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long from the Star in Frisco. We'll see you tomorrow on Talkin Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!